I don't have drinking buddies at work. I have audit logs. Drinking buddies lie to you about your golf swing. Audit logs tell you exactly who was in the building at 3:04 a.m. and why they tried to export 2.5 terabytes of data to a server in a non-extradition country. That's my language. I'm Ryan Matthews, 47, Senior Cyber Compliance Officer for Foresight Analytics. If that title sounds boring to you, congratulations. You have a life outside government contracts. To the people who matter, the Department of Defense, the NSA, and the stone-faced auditors who decide if this company lives or dies, I am the guy who keeps us out of federal prison. I've spent 22 years in this business. First in Army Signal Corps, then 15 years in federal contracting. I've learned one universal truth. The biggest threat to national security isn't some hacker in a hoodie typing in a basement. It's a corporate executive who thinks password 123 is secure because it has numbers. It was a Friday morning that felt like the universe had run out of coffee. I was 3 hours into a level 5 log review when I saw it. Most people think cybersecurity is like the movies. Green code streaming down screens, dramatic music playing. In reality, it's me, a lukewarm bourbon in my coffee mug, and spreadsheets that would make an accountant weep. I was checking access requests for server node 12, an air-gapped monster that houses the if World War III starts tomorrow. Read this first datasets. Foresight Analytics handles operational forecasting for the military. We predict supply chain failures for tanks. We model troop movements based on weather patterns. We house information that, if leaked, gets people killed in real places. That's not drama, that's Monday through Friday. Then I saw the anomaly, a jagged spike in the smooth rhythm of normal operations. Someone had pinged the gateway using devadmin 12, a ghost account that should have been dead and buried 5 years ago. Seeing it active was like coming home and finding a stranger wearing your uniform and drinking your whiskey. I picked up my secure line and called Kevin Brooks, our IT director. Kevin's a good guy, solid technical skills, but he folds faster than a card table when management starts throwing weight around. Kevin, I said, skipping the small talk, why is devadmin 12 showing activity and why is it trying to handshake with the classified drive? Silence on the other end. Not thinking silence. More like I'm currently soiling my ergonomic chair silence. Ryan, Kevin's voice came out as a whisper. I didn't authorize it. The ticket came from upstairs, like corner office upstairs. My stomach dropped. Kevin, I don't care if the ticket came from George Washington's ghost. That account doesn't have clearance for TS-SCI data. Who's using it? Another pause. Then, it's Hunter Sterling. I closed my eyes and pinched the bridge of my nose. Hunter Sterling, the CEO's 28-year-old son, the chief innovation strategist, a kid whose resume consisted of 2 failed crypto startups and a business degree from a university that sounds like a breakfast cereal. Hunter had been skulking around the office for months, talking about disrupting paradigms and leveraging AI synergies. I mostly ignored him the way you ignore a mosquito buzzing around your beer. But now the mosquito had gotten into the weapons locker. Hunter doesn't have clearance, Kevin, I said, pulling up the security protocols on my second monitor. Hunter can barely clear his browser history. How does he have a root access key? His dad, Kevin said miserably. Jason Sterling walked in here yesterday. Said Hunter needs full access to build his presentation for the Pentagon meeting. Said our security protocols were stifling innovation. He ordered me to reactivate the ghost key. The cold feeling spread from my neck down my spine. This wasn't just a policy violation. This was a violation of federal law. The company was bleeding money on their last 3 contracts, and Jason was desperate to land this Pentagon deal. But if Hunter pulled classified data and put it on an unsecured laptop, or worse, uploaded it to the cloud, Foresight Analytics wouldn't just lose a contract. We would cease to exist. People would go to federal prison. Kevin, did you log that order? I wrote it on a sticky note. Jesus. I hung up. I stared at my monitors. devadmin 12 was still probing the firewall like a drunk trying to pick a lock. Then a new message flashed. Access granted. Override authorized. My blood went cold. Jason hadn't just bullied Kevin. He'd used his executive credentials to bypass the failsafe. Hunter was inside the operational forecasting server. I didn't storm into the CEO's office. I didn't yell. That's amateur hour. Instead, I opened a secure terminal that runs on a completely separate network. I inserted my personal smart card and typed in my 32-character encryption key. I began typing a report, not to HR, not to the board, but directly to the Compliance Anomaly Intake Server at the National Security Agency. Title: Unauthorized Access to Compartmented Data Set. Priority 1. I was about to light a match and I was sitting on a mountain of dynamite, but I wasn't the one who poured the gasoline. That was Hunter. I was just the guy holding the rule book. The next Monday morning, the office buzzed with that fake energy that usually means someone's about to get fired or the company's about to collapse. The email invite for the all-hands meeting came with a gif of a rocket taking off. I hate gifs in work emails. They're the digital equivalent of nervous laughter. We gathered in the main conference room. Jason Sterling stood at the front, wearing a suit that cost more than my truck. He looked like a silver-haired hawk who'd just caught something tasty. Standing next to him was Hunter, wearing expensive sneakers and a t-shirt that said, "Innovate." He was holding a tablet like Moses with the stone tablets. "Team," Jason boomed. "For too long, foresight has been reactive. We've been safe. We've been compliant." He said compliant like it meant cowardly. A few heads turned toward me. I kept my face neutral. The future isn't safe. The future is bold, and my son Hunter is going to lead us there. Hunter stepped up. He adjusted his non-prescription glasses. I was 90% sure they were just frames to make him look smarter. "Thanks, Dad." "I mean, Jason." The sycophants laughed. "Look, I've been analyzing our systems for the past 48 hours, and honestly, I'm shocked. We have data silos everywhere. Information wants to be free, people. Information wants to move." I physically flinched. "Information wants to be free" is a great slogan for a hacker. It's a terrible slogan for a company holding classified troop deployment schedules. "I'm announcing the new AI initiative," Hunter continued. "I've pulled the raw data sets from the forecasting servers, yes, the secure ones, and I'm feeding them into a cloud-based learning model. We're going to generate real-time insights that will blow the Pentagon's mind." The room went silent. Engineers stared at their shoes. Project managers stared at me. Hunter had just admitted in front of 200 people that he'd stolen classified data and uploaded it to a public cloud server. "Now," Hunter smirked, looking directly at me, "I know some of the old guard here love their firewalls. Ryan, where are you?" "Ah, there he is," he pointed. "Ryan thinks security means locking everything in a box. But I think security means speed. If we're faster than the enemy, we don't need walls." I didn't blink. I stood with my arms crossed, projecting the energy of a disappointed drill sergeant. So effective immediately, I'm overriding the legacy access protocols. The innovation team gets root access to everything. No more tickets. No more waiting for Mr. Firewall to stamp approval forms. Jason clapped. "That's the spirit, son. Let's revolutionize defense." The meeting dispersed. People avoided eye contact with me as they shuffled back to work. They knew dead man walking when they saw one, and they assumed it was me. I went back to my office and immediately pulled the audit logs. Hunter wasn't lying. At 4:47 a.m., DevAdmin 12 had executed a mass export. Select. From Tactical Ops DB, he'd pulled everything. Then the log showed an upload stream to an external IP address. I traced the IP. It wasn't a secure government cloud. It wasn't even a corporate server. It was a generic public-facing server hosted by an AI startup called NeuralSync. Hunter had uploaded top-secret information to a company that probably had admin as their password and a security team consisting of one guy named Chad. I took screenshots. I exported the packet captures. I saved the video file of the meeting from our internal server. Then I opened my secure channel to the NSA again. My contact was a man named Director Lucas. We'd never met for coffee, but we had a professional relationship built on the mutual understanding that stupidity is the real enemy. I typed, "Update to previous report. Subject has admitted to data exfiltration in public forum. Data now hosted on unsecured third-party cloud. Video evidence attached." I hit enter. The screen blinked. Report received. Monitoring initiated. Do not intervene. Do not intervene. That was the hardest part. Hunter was running around high-fiving people thinking he was the next Steve Jobs. He had no idea that federal crosshairs were centering on his forehead. I had to sit there and watch the poison spread just enough so that when the antidote arrived, it would kill the patient. I poured bourbon into my coffee mug. It tasted like justice. 2 hours later, my desk phone rang. Internal extension, human resources. Caller ID said Rebecca Walsh, VP of People. Rebecca was the kind of HR executive who hung motivational posters but would fire a pregnant woman for using too many sick days. Ryan, her voice dripped artificial sweetness. Could you pop down to my office? Bring your badge. Bring your badge. Universal code for your dead. I knew this was coming. I'd been counting the minutes. I grabbed my keys but left everything else. I wanted my desk to look like interrupted work, a crime scene of professionalism. I walked down the hallway past rows of developers frantically trying to integrate Hunter's innovation into stable code. They looked stressed. They knew something was wrong. Rebecca's office. Jason Sterling was there, leaning against the window, looking out like he was contemplating his own genius. Hunter sat in the guest chair, scrolling his phone, looking bored. "Have a seat, Ryan," Rebecca said. I sat, military posture, hands folded. "Ryan," Jason started without turning around. "We've been discussing company culture and direction. Rebecca and I feel you're no longer a cultural fit. Your behavior today, the eye-rolling, the negative body language, undermines leadership." "I didn't say a word at the meeting, Jason." "That's the problem," Hunter piped up. "You're always looming, man, like a dark cloud. I'm trying to innovate and you're just radiating negativity. We need yes people." I looked at Hunter. "Hunter, you uploaded classified military data to a public server. That's not negativity. That's a felony." Jason slammed his hand on the desk. "Enough! This is exactly what I'm talking about. You're obsessed with obstacles. Hunter is a visionary. You're a relic. So I'm being fired for upholding federal compliance standards? You're being terminated for insubordination and creating a hostile work environment," Rebecca said, sliding papers across the desk. 2 weeks severance if you sign this non-disclosure agreement." I looked at the papers. 2 weeks for 22 years of keeping them out of prison. "I won't be signing that," I said. Jason laughed. "Suit yourself. You leave with nothing. Hand over your badge." I stood up. I pulled out my ID card and placed it on Rebecca's desk. "You're making a mistake, Jason. The only mistake I made was not firing you sooner. Security will escort you out." The walk to the lobby was long. A security guard named Justin walked behind me, staring at his feet. He was embarrassed. I wasn't. When the glass doors closed behind me, Virginia humidity hit my face. I walked to my truck, got in, and sat in the silence. My phone buzzed. Secure message from Director Lucas. "Status?" I typed back. "Terminated, badge surrendered." The reply was instant. "Acknowledged. You are now a protected witness. Go home. Stay quiet. We are moving assets." I started the truck. As I pulled out, I looked up at the 4th floor. Hunter was in the corner office window, gesturing wildly, probably explaining to someone how he was going to revolutionize warfare with code he didn't understand. He thought he'd won. He thought he'd cut out the cancer. He didn't realize I wasn't the cancer. I was the immune system. And he'd just suppressed the only thing keeping the infection from killing the host. I drove home, poured real bourbon, and waited for the world to end. My house is quiet by design. No TV noise, no chaos. My daughter's studying law at Georgetown, something safe and respectable. I like the peace. That afternoon, my secure laptop pinged. Video call request, heavy encryption. It took 30 seconds just to establish the connection. Director Lucas appeared on screen sitting in what looked like a bunker. He was carved from gray stone and didn't waste time on pleasantries. "Mr. Matthews," he said. "Director, we have full monitoring on Foresight servers. We've been watching your boy Hunter for 8 hours. He's currently trying to integrate the tactical database with a ChatGPT API. He thinks he's building a war bot. He's actually feeding classified troop locations into a public language model." I closed my eyes. Worse than I thought. "We have containment," Lucas continued. "He thinks he's on the open web. He's in a simulation we control. He's feeding data to us, not the public, but he doesn't know that." "What now?" "Now we let him hang himself. Tomorrow's the board meeting, correct?" "Where they pitch this to the Pentagon liaison." "Yes." "Noon. They're expecting General Jordan." "Good. General Jordan is coming. So am I." Lucas leaned forward. "Technically, you're a civilian. But as of this moment, I'm activating you under Title 50 authority as a specialized consultant. You're reinstated, not by Foresight, but by the United States government. What do you need me to do?" Nothing. That's the hardest part for people like you, Ryan. You want to fix it. I need you to let it rot. Come to the building tomorrow at 11:45. Park across the street. Wait for my signal. They took my badge. You won't need a badge where you're going, Lucas said. We're cleaning house, Ryan, and I want you there to witness the audit. The screen went black. I sat there thinking about Jason's smug face when he fired me. He'd called me a relic. He had no idea that while he was playing checkers with his son's career, the NSA was playing chess with his life. I spent the evening cleaning my rifle. There's something satisfying about proper maintenance when you know federal justice is assembling to destroy your enemies. The next day, I parked across the street at 11:30. I had my tablet propped up, showing a compliance feed Lucas had sent me, live security cameras inside the executive boardroom. The room looked like a wedding reception for people with more money than sense. Catered pastries, dedicated coffee station, silk tablecloth over the usual bare mahogany. Jason was pacing, checking his watch, rehearsing his opening lines. General, what we have here is a paradigm shift. No, a quantum leap in defense analytics. Hunter was hooking his laptop to the 85-inch presentation screen. Dad, the latency is practically zero. I asked it to predict supply chain disruption in the South China Sea and got a scenario in 3 seconds. Ryan's team used to take weeks for that analysis. Ryan is the past, Jason said, straightening his tie. You are the future, son. Today, we secure the contract that sets us up for life. I watched from my truck, sipping coffee from a thermos. Fascinating. They were planning their financial future while committing espionage, like planning a vacation while actively robbing a bank. The feed switched to the lobby view. General Jordan walked in, full dress greens, chest heavy with ribbons, flanked by 2 aides with briefcases. Behind them came the real show. 2 black SUVs pulled up, blocking the executive parking spots. 4 men got out wearing ill-fitting Navy suits that screamed federal agent. Director Lucas led the group. He walked into the lobby like a shark swimming through coral reef. The receptionist, Ashley, looked up and smiled. Can I help you? Lucas flashed a badge I couldn't see clearly, but I saw Ashley's face go pale. She backed away from the desk without reaching for the phone. Lucas and his team moved toward the elevators with fluid, predatory grace. My phone buzzed. Move in. Lobby secured. Come up. I got out of my truck. The sun was shining. Birds were singing. Beautiful day for an execution. I walked across the street, boots clicking on asphalt. I didn't rush. I wanted to savor the anticipation. In the lobby, Ashley saw me and her eyes widened. Ryan, I thought you were fired. Who are those men? They locked the elevators. It's okay, Ashley, I said calmly. They're with me. Can you override the elevator lock? She looked at the federal agent stationed by the elevator bank, then back at me. Do you trust me? Yes. She swiped her MasterCard. The doors opened. You might want to take an early lunch, I suggested. That place across town. Take your time. I rode up alone, watching the numbers tick. 1, 2, 3, 4. The doors opened to an empty hallway. Voices drifted from the boardroom. And here's the interface, Hunter's voice boomed. Gentlemen, what you're seeing doesn't just read data, it understands it. I walked down the hall and stood just outside the doorframe, in the shadows. I wanted to hear the pitch, before truth kicked the door down. For example, Hunter was saying, typing on his keyboard, if I ask for vulnerability assessment of the eastern grid, a map populated on screen, red dots appearing over power stations. Boom. There it is. Impressive, one of the general's aides said flatly. This is running on your internal secure servers? Better, Hunter grinned. It's running on distributed hybrid cloud, maximum speed, infinite scalability. Hybrid cloud, General Jordan repeated. Meaning connected to the internet. Yes, that's the beauty. We've broken the silo. Suddenly the screen flickered. The map froze, pixelated, then a giant red box appeared. Connection terminated. Remote host unreachable. Hunter tapped keys frantically. 1 sec, Wi-Fi glitch. Technical gremlins, Jason said, trying to cover. Curse of live demos, right, General? General Jordan didn't laugh. He slowly closed his folder. At that moment, every phone in the room buzzed simultaneously. Harsh emergency alert tones, then silence. All signal bars dropped to 0. What's happening? Jason asked, checking his phone. I have no service. The VPN is down, Hunter said, panic creeping in. The whole network just vanished. That's because we cut the hard line. The room froze. Director Lucas stepped into the light. He wasn't smiling. He held a badge in one hand, a folio in the other. He tossed the badge onto the mahogany table. It slid across silk and stopped in front of Jason. The metallic thud was the loudest sound in the world. "Who the hell are you?" Jason demanded. "How did you get in here? This is a private meeting. I am Director Lucas of the National Security Agency," Lucas said calmly. "And this is no longer a private meeting. It is a crime scene." Two agents stepped in behind him, moving to block windows, imposing, silent, terrifyingly professional. "NSA?" Hunter laughed nervously. Is this a stress test? Did Ryan set this up? Because it's not funny. Your former employee asked a question, Lucas said, turning to Hunter. "No, this is not a stress test. Stress tests imply you have a chance of passing. This is a containment breach protocol." Lucas looked at the general. "General Jordan, my apologies for the interruption. We needed to confirm active uplink before severing connection." "Understood, Director," Jordan said, standing. "Did he really put grid data on a public server?" "He did." "Dear God," Jordan muttered, looking at Jason with pure disgust. "You people are insane!" "Wait a minute," Jason sputtered. "We're a trusted partner. We have protocols." "You had protocols," Lucas corrected. "Then you fired the person who enforced them." Lucas turned toward the door. "Mr. Matthews." I stepped into the room. Jason's face was worth every unpaid overtime hour. His jaw dropped. His eyes darted between me and Lucas. "Hello, Jason," I said. Didn't raise my voice. Didn't smirk. Just stood there in my dress shirt, looking like the personification of, "I told you so." "He's the one who sabotaged the network," Hunter shouted, pointing. "He's bitter. He hacked us. Sit down, son," one of the agents barked. Hunter sat. "Mr. Matthews didn't hack you," Lucas said, opening his folio. "He reported you, as legally required. Because he did, we intercepted your innovation before it reached Chinese servers actively scraping your cloud host." "Chinese servers?" Hunter squeaked. "You used a third-party host, Hunter," I said. "Did you read their terms of service? Their servers are mirrored in Shanghai. You handed operational forecasts to foreign intelligence. But don't worry, we redirected your DNS. Your data went to Utah, not Beijing." The silence was deafening. Jason slumped into his chair as liability dawned on him. "Okay," he said, voice trembling. "No harm done, right? We caught it. We'll fix this." "Too late," Lucas said. He pulled out a remote and pointed it at the screen. The frozen map disappeared, replaced by security footage from yesterday's meeting. We watched Hunter strutting around. "If we're faster than the enemy, we don't need walls." Lucas paused the video, admitting to intent. He clicked next. A log file appeared showing Jason's credentials authorizing the override. "And here's the facilitator. You used executive privilege to bypass federal safety protocols. That makes you accessory to distribution of classified material." The door burst open. The board chairman, Zachary Powell, stormed in, looking like he was having cardiac arrest. "Jason!" he roared. "I have SEC on line 1, Defense Department on line 2. Our stock is halted." He stopped, seeing the general and agents. "Mr. Powell," Jordan said tiredly, "your CEO just tried to open source our troop movements." Powell turned on Jason. "You're fired. For cause. No severance. We're clawing back everything." Powell looked around frantically. "How do we fix this?" "General, please. Foresight employs 1,800 people. Contract suspended pending security audit," Jordan said. "We can't pass an audit. Our compliance officer is gone." "Actually," Lucas said, gesturing to me, "he's right here." Powell looked confused, then recognized me. "Ryan, we need you back. Name your price." I looked at Lucas. He nodded slightly. "I have conditions," I said. "Anything," Powell promised. First, I pointed at Jason and Hunter. "They leave now. Never return. Done. Second, I report directly to the board. No CEO oversight on security. If I say a server stays locked, it stays locked. Agreed. Absolute autonomy. Third, Kevin Brooks gets a raise. He tried to stop them. Done." I turned to General Jordan. "General, if leadership is removed and original protocols restored, can we maintain the contract?" Jordan looked at me with respect. If you're signing compliance forms, Ryan, yes. Probationary basis. Thank you, General. Gentlemen, Lucas said to his agents, escort the suspects to vehicles. Suspects, Hunter squeaked as an agent hauled him up. Am I being arrested? Detained for questioning regarding Espionage Act violations, the agent said, hands behind your back. Hunter started crying. Dad, do something. Jason looked at me one last time. I'm sorry, he said. I know, I said. It's not going in the log. They led them out. Hunter stumbled, expensive sneakers squeaking on tile. Jason walked with his head down. The elevator doors closed. They were gone. I was alone in the boardroom. I walked to the window and looked down at the street. The black SUVs were pulling away. Jason and Hunter sat in the back, heading to federal holding. I went back to my office. Kevin reactivated my credentials with relief and gratitude. I sat in my chair. It creaked familiarly. I logged in. User R. Matthews. Access level. Administrator unrestricted. I opened the log file for DevAdmin 12. I typed, account disabled permanently. Then I went to the break room, made fresh coffee, and added real bourbon. I took a sip. Hot, bitter, perfect. I opened a new spreadsheet. Time to get back to work. Real power doesn't announce itself. It simply operates.